about these next articles.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Me too.
Great.
Should I
You're
take
so
it away?
excited. Yeah.
It's
Start-
pretty
you
good.
start it off.
All right, I'll start it off. This one's an editor pick from NewYorkMag.com by Allison P. Davis, and it's 30 fantastic movie costumes by the legendary Edith Head. Guys, do you know Edith Head?
I
Did you
didn't.
know?
I
You didn't know?
didn't.
Shame on you. You didn't know either?
No.
She's the most winningest Oscar person ever. She did costumes for like every major movie of the 50s, 40s, 50s,
Yeah.
and into the
Well,
60s.
I discovered that.
Yes.
Yeah.
well,
I was going through the
yeah,
slideshow and I was like,
and
I
she's
know this
just
movie.
such an
I know this
icon
movie.
with her funny glasses and her bangs and
Well, as soon as I saw the
very
photo
good.
of her, I was like, "That I know that person," but
Yeah.
I didn't know that
Yeah.
name and I didn't know her work, and then I was sort of connecting it all together.
She
Yeah.
did tons of great movies. I mean, and there's this article was good. It's basically just a slideshow, and you saw some of the costumes she did. But I'll point out a few that I think are particularly magical. I love the slide of Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard because I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Mhm.
I haven't.
Well, the Gloria Swanson character is this like faded silent movie actress, and everything about her is just so over the top, and the costumes really match that. She had this amazingly ginormous feather coming out of her hat, and in the movie you see her with sunglasses all the time indoors, and she's just so over the top. It's really just wonderful. I'd forgotten that Edith Head did the costumes for Vertigo, and I think the first moment you see Kim Novak in that green dress, it's the green dress that makes you get why Jimmy Stewart's character suddenly becomes so obsessed with her, and it's that green dress is just so magical, and the little gray skirt suit thing that she has that he becomes obsessed with too. It makes perfect sense. But some other famous things she did was Breakfast at Tiffany's. Of course the cigarette lighter and everything. What were some of your favorites?
Yeah, I liked Roman Holiday. I
Yeah.
think that was the other
Awfully-
Audrey Hepburn one.
Very cute. And
Yeah, super cute. And there was another Hitchcock one, like The Birds, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
the Birds, Rear Window too.
Yeah,
the-
that's the one that caught my
Window,
attention.
yeah.
I love the juxtaposition between Grace Kelly's elegant kind of party dress that you first see her in that movie, and then Jimmy Stewart in in his pajamas because he's up with a bum leg for months. It's great, love it.
Yeah.
Jason Cohen writes, by keeping the practicality of the garments, the actress was able to integrate it into their acting. And the fit shows off how gorgeous these actresses really are, which I've got to agree.
Yeah.
She dressed some good-looking ladies.
I mean, it just made me be like, why do we not dress like that today?
Yeah.
Because every woman looks good in outfits like that.
Yes.
Every woman.
Empire
Whereas,
waists
like,
are so
hardly anyone,
great. No.
women look good in, like, skinny jeans, low-rise jeans,
Yeah, no.
like, the ridiculous things we
I
wear
know,
today.
it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's like, give me the busty tops, the empire waists, like, just
Totally.
give it to me.
I'm all for it. Why
Just
don't-
Mad Men. We just
Bring
need to
it-
dress like
bring
Mad
it back,
Men.
Eleanor. Just bring that look back, and I'll start wearing a suit everywhere.
Yeah! Done. When you start wearing the suit, we'll start wearing
Alright.
Empire Waist.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Alright. Who's got the next article?
I think
I
that's
can't
me.
wait.
All right. This one, actually, I was super interested in this and definitely read this before the top 5 even came out. This one is Dan O'Bannon and the Origins of Alien by David Cano on Tested.com.
I swear it seems like this is like the 3rd or 4th article dealing with the film Alien.
I think
I
Bubba's
think it
loves
is.
Alien.
Well, I think it's really interesting. These articles keep popping up, and Alien is how old, and it's still so present today.
The effects are fantastic in it. I
Yeah,
gotta
Awesome.
say.
That's basically the article was just talking about like how Dan O'Bannon came up with the idea for Aliens and how the movie progressed to what it is today, and it's such an iconic piece now. That was really interesting.
Yeah. What I really liked about it, how it sort of was reflecting on how Alien took like the genre of like sci-fi and what had been known as like B-movie and did it in like an A-movie style and like executed it into an A-movie style to the point where like now we don't even think of like a sci-fi film as like a lesser film, like films
No,
like Gravity or Avatar, like
Well,
nominated for the Best Picture Oscar, like held in
It's-
as much esteem as a drama film. You
It's
know?
B movie in the sense that it's a sci-fi movie, but it's actually a horror movie.
Right.
Under
Right.
the guise of being a
Well,
sci-fi
that would still
film,
be a
you
B
know?
movie. It's
Yeah.
horror, you know.
I mean,
at
there's-
the time.
There's in a lot of ways the film makes you think of Jaws, especially in the
Mhm.
fact that they don't fully reveal the creature till towards the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
And this,
Yeah.
he was talking about how to even get this movie picked up by the studios, and that was one of the biggest selling points of it, was that you didn't see the alien until so far into the movie, and that it just makes it so much cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes it so much easier on the studio, because you don't have all the special effects. It's just, shadows out of the corner of your eye, and
Mhm.
different lighting effects, and the scary music that makes it so suspenseful,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
And it is one of the scariest films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I love it.
The thing that always gets me isn't actually the chest bursting sequence, because
Uh-huh.
I always expect that. But it's when the pod opens up and the
Yeah.
thing flies out
Yeah.
at John Hurt's face. That always scares me.
Oh god, it's so
Because
scary.
he's like peering. It's edited so well. He's
Yeah.
peering over and then. Yeah. So good.
One of the other interesting
Yeah.
things is the screenwriter Dan O'Bannon, he didn't write it to be played as slow as it was.
Mm.
And like they all went into filming and it was just so slow, and he was so worried about it being slow that it wouldn't read well on film, and then everybody loved that it was so slow because it adds so much more suspense.
Tension.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Movies today
the
don't
thrills
have
are
that.
earned.
Yeah, they were saying movies, like, it would be considered way too slow today if it was, like, a new movie coming out, and that basically movies today are just, like, kind of a
Thrill
series
after
of,
thrill.
like, music videos, basically,
Yeah.
cut together.
Completely.
Horror movies now is just like, how much gore can we throw in the audience's
Yeah.
face before they get sick of it?
Completely.
People don't have, like, patience.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, there's the ability of, like, oh, if I'm not into this in the first 5 minutes, I'm going to watch YouTube or go on
Right.
Facebook or
Yeah.
do something else, you know? So it's like, we don't just give ourselves over to films in the way that we used to. It sucks.
Alien.
Any comments about that one?
Oh yeah, we do. What it? Adam Kennard said, I enjoyed the article and just reading about O'Bannon's passion for his work. He loved what he did in trying to really make a quality script. That movie was a success and totally freaked me out. I was also interested in their point about the movie being really slow compared to modern standards of pace for story. So Adam agrees with us.
Yeah.
Good.
Well done, Adam.
Awesome.
All right. Well, the next article is called Monoculture and the Pleasures of the Jungle Book, and it's by Alison Van House for HowlRound, and it's an editor pick. And the article's talking about the new production of the Jungle Book, which
Mary Zimmerman.
Mary Zimmerman,
Yeah.
which has been at the Goodman in Chicago and in Boston as well, and I guess it's making its way to Broadway at some
Of
point.
It's
course.
gotta.
Yeah.
That's how it rolls,
Disney
right?
theatricals.
Yeah. So the article is interesting. It's kind of, it's talking about how Disney has really followed the same kind of formula that they did with Lion King in putting this musical together. Like, take a director who has
Who's kind of avant-garde and,
Yeah.
is visionary in her work.
and has
Yeah.
also like known for kind of co-opting, borrowing, appropriating, I
Yeah.
don't know what you want to say,
Yeah.
like forms from Asian theatre and using that in the productions. So he's kind of talking about how like it's very safe, and that's like the main critique of it. I think
Right.
like it's just very safe.
Sounds a little cookie cutter to
comfortable.
Lion King, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and he's
I mean,
yeah.
It's Disney. I mean, does Disney really need to take their movies that have sold how many millions worth of dollars and then change it? People are going to walk into that theater expecting to see the movie
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah,
That's what's going to sell the tickets.
yeah.
Well, and it was interesting how the article talks about how in the audience it was 80% adult, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the woman writing the article just did a quick scan, and that was
Mhm.
her estimate.
Mhm.
And how many of that percentage was also much older too.
Mhm.
And it made me think, well, this is perfect because you're reselling baby boomers' youth
Yep.
to them because that
Yeah.
movie came out, the Disney cartoon movie came
Yeah.
out in the early 60s,
Yeah.
something
somewhere
like
around
that.
there.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what the student commenter said, C. Schwartz. Most people are going to see the show because they want the old comfort of movies from their childhood presented in a new medium. If they had to try to change or reframe any of the shows, I don't think they would have been as successful.
Yeah.
It's maybe sad and artistically depressing,
Yeah.
but probably true.
But it's Disney and they just want to make money.
Yeah.
So,
What it got me thinking too was that Disney doesn't really make straight up animated films anymore. They do computer animation for the most part.
Right. Yeah.
They bankroll Pixar films for
Yeah.
the most part, and it just seems it's kind of sad because now there's a generation that isn't going to have their own, Jungle Book type
Yeah.
film that they grow up with.
But I mean, think about it. This generation, I grew up with Aladdin and Cinderella and all of those movies and Beauty and the Beast, and now this generation is growing up with The Princess and the Frog and Tangled, and those are their generation
Yeah.
of Disney movies, and who knows what Disney will be 50 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Series of amusement parks.
I guess the article was making the point that it's kind of interesting that it's like it's the Jungle Book, but you're not, and it's an it's an adaptation of that or whatever, but you're not. It's not changing. It's not inventing anything. It's just cosmetically presenting what it is, and it makes the comparison to Shakespeare. Shakespeare was stealing everything from everywhere
Yeah.
and making something new out of it, and this isn't really anything new, and
Right.
it's not
Well,
moving the art forward or it being very exciting.
I think it was
anyway.
really interesting. Shannon Henley, one of her comment, actually this kind of outraged her a lot. This article, because she was saying, well, why does Disney have to change it?
Yeah.
Like, is it a bad thing that Disney just takes the movie and puts it on stage?
I guess that's not a bad thing, but it also comes back to what we always talk about, which is Disney and copyright, which is that no one else can do anything to this because they own it, right?
Jungle Book, I don't think they own that
Right.
source material. No, because I've seen other
Right.
But you
productions.
couldn't take anything to do
Couldn't
with
take
the
their
Disney
music, yeah,
and do
I'm sure
and
they
mess
own
with
their
it
music.
or do
Yeah,
anything
you
with
couldn't
that.
do
Yeah.
No, they'd be on you.
I'm sure if you
Exactly.
did a staged adaptation that wasn't a musical,
Yeah.
because the stage adaptation of Aladdin exists, but the musical is Disney.
Yeah.
I actually saw a musical version of the Jungle Book last year that was all done in gibberish
Right.
with new music. It was
Oh, that's
amazing. It was amazing.
But I guess the point that she's making is that Shakespeare did directly steal things, and
Yeah.
that you just in this day and age you can't do that, and
Yeah.
maybe that's bad.
Well, we live in a litigious society.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
Interesting.
well. You got the next one for
I
us?
do have the next one.
More adaptations.
Yeah, more adaptations. This one is a book going into film. Ender's Game filmed Zero G battles that obey the laws of physics. This was on Wired.com by, not actually by anybody, but it looks like it was by a department. FX Guide
Mhm.
wrote this as an editor pick, and it's basically just this really cool video of how they filmed all the Zero G battle scenes for Ender's Game. Did you guys see the movie?
First of all, did anybody see that movie?
Yeah.
You
I
did?
haven't seen it yet. I read the book. I'm excited to see it.
It's-
It looks like little kids in space.
I
Come
mean,
on.
no,
No, it's great.
I haven't read the book yet,
Looks
and I
terrible.
really
You
want
No,
to now.
you should read the
Yeah.
book.
Yeah, the
It's
book is
because
better
it's
than
like-
the movie.
I'm never
It's
gonna
kind of
read
about
it.
a fascist society, and it's just super. And the kids are drafted into the army at a really
Well,
young
it looks
age.
really
Yeah.
sanitized,
'Cause,
the
like-
little clips that we watched.
a little bit, but the whole
Well, it's just the battles.
yeah, exactly. The whole idea is kids are
Harrison
so much
Ford.
smarter than adults and they adapt so much more quickly. So why
Yeah.
not put them in charge of the battles?
Yeah.
And they go to battle school and they have this zero G room on this international space station in the middle of
Harrison
space.
Ford
Where
had that line where
Harrison
he's
Ford,
like,
yes.
Careful, you're about to walk into zero gravity.
I have to say, Harrison Ford's part was really cheesy in the movie, but it's Harrison Ford, so come on. But so they walk into this room, and
He's so
basically,
doddering now.
as soon as you pass the plane of the doorway, you're instantly in zero gravity, and the rest of the space station is in regular
Yeah.
gravity. So it was really interesting, and the physics apparently is all to a T exactly
Yeah.
what it would be in space, which I think is a great feat
And
for
the
a
wire
movie.
work can't the
Yeah,
wire work
because-
that they're doing can't emulate that.
Exactly,
so they-
because if you're hooked up to a harness, they showed this harness that was on a boom and it was around his waist, and then he was in a full body harness that had him harnessed to this thing around his waist so he could move this way and tilt and spin.
and your center
But
of
as
gravity,
soon as you tilt,
yeah,
exactly, your center of gravity,
changes,
anybody
and-
who's been in a harness
Right.
can tell you that if you lean forward, your center of gravity changes and you flip immediately.
right.
It's and that's not really kind of what happens in
It's-
space.
you're right.
Yeah.
So it was really
The
interesting.
center of gravity is constant.
Well, your center of
space.
gravity shifts, whereas the wire is always holding you here. So
Yeah,
your center of
right.
gravity shifts, but your pivot point doesn't shift with you.
Right.
So that's what the challenge was that they were facing. So it turns out that they filmed everything on wires in front of green screen. and then digitally animated all of the bodies
But they
to
kept
make
the
them
face.
right. Exactly, and they kept the faces.
Yeah.
And that's why they did all the wires, was to get the faces, like the reaction to the emotions, the movement of the faces right,
Right.
and then stuck them on digital bodies.
Yeah. It's cool. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Just
I
think
don't
it's
know.
really
It's
interesting.
Really
cheesy.
cool.
Oh, shush you.
It's
We're not talking about the film.
You're
we're
about to step into zero
we're
gravity.
talking about the effects. And
I know.
the
They
effects
still,
are
they
great.
still look like a high tech cartoon to me. You know, I'm an old fuddy duddy. I like
See,
the
but I
models
thought
of
the
like
digital
Alien.
was done really, really
in
well.
2001.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell that it was digitally done.
Yeah, it's
still,
good.
It looks too clean or something. I can't. That's the only way I can describe it. Like I still think the effects look better in Blade Runner in 2001 because you had like an actual tactile, three-dimensional model.
Sure.
Anyway, I'll
But
get
you
off
can't
my-
do this in a real
I've,
way.
I've had this rant
Let's
before
just go
on
out
the
into space and
podcast.
film this movie.
You can't do this in a real way, so you just have
Exactly.
to do this.
Yeah, well, okay.
And they pulled it off really well. I mean, they talked about Gravity too, how that film had to
Yeah.
do the same thing, and how like
Yeah.
the whole movie was in space. Whereas at least Ender's Game, most of it was, you know, they were in regular
Mhm.
gravity, standing and walking on the ground.
Right.
But the movie Gravity, like the whole thing took place in zero gravity.
Yeah, it's called Gravity, man. I mean,
Yeah.
that just tells you.
Beautiful. Yeah, that
That's
was
awesome.
pretty well done.
Comments?
Emily Bordelon was saying, "This is so intense. I can't wait to see the movie, and this behind-the-scenes sequence really made me interested in the process of the movie. I'd never considered the use of CGI for zero-gravity scenes, which kind of interests me because how else do you shoot zero-gravity scenes?
Exactly.
And this made it seem like it was the only logical solution. The research that must have gone into the fluid movements of the body in space is outrageous and extremely detailed."
It's
Which
interesting.
is true, because
Yeah.
all the physics was dead on.
Yeah.
It makes me think they actually did shoot like Apollo 13 in a zero gravity
Right.
pod,
Mhm.
you know. But I guess for something like this where it's a much larger,
Battles.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
like,
like one
yeah,
small room. This is
yeah,
a huge
yeah.
space.
Yeah.
And now you had only had to fit, 4 people in it? This
Yeah.
was
right.
30,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I think I'll be seeing that this weekend.
Yeah,
and
speaking
you,
of the weekend,
you won't be joining me, I can
I
assure
know,
you.
no, I won't be. I won't be around.
Give it a chance.
No. Well, happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday.
Yeah, have a good weekend. I'm taking off.
Okay, see you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Good chatting.
Good chatting. Oh.
See you, pal.
You guys just gonna stay here?
Yeah, we're just gonna have our
Yeah,
lady
we're gonna
chat.
talk about it now.
Alright,
Yeah.
cool.
See ya.